Today, we're going to be taking a look way back when Pokemon ruled Earth. And I'm talking about Generation 1. Now, I won't bore you with the history other than what was up at the time. You know, the Game Boy was released. Yeah, we all know that. Bugs inside of the games. Yeah, Pokemon was invented. Yeah, we all know that. And it was a huge success. I remember everybody had a Pokemon jacket, a Pokemon shirt, a Pokemon backpack, a hat, and everything else, all the gear, all the little toys, and all of that stuff. These little monsters in a bowl were awesome. The anime only further pushed its popularity with young people. And by young people, I mean mostly kids from 5 to 10 years old or so. Pokemon was the best, but that was years ago. So does it still hold up? Well, let's talk about the series, you know, the games. I'll be doing it in order from generations and the years, starting from this video and the beginning, Generation 1. So yeah, let's sink our teeth into the first generation of the Pokemon games. So as a kid, I never got a chance to play these games, even though everyone else did, but not me. I loved the anime and I watched it, and of course, like any other kid at the time, I dreamed of Pokemon being real. At that time, everybody did. I already said that, but whatever. Years later, I finally experienced the games, and by years later, I mean it's pretty recent since I first played the games, and I played all of them. So what did I think about the first generation of Pokemon after playing it from a totally different era from when it was very popular and when it was the hype of all games? When I played it in an era where HD rules and graphics look lifelike, and technology rules the world as well? Well, I actually didn't like them all that well. I mean, it was fun, but it was short. I always thought the game ended when you caught them all. But it's hard to even do that with all the trading and everything, especially nowadays when nobody even has a link cable anymore. So I played the game all night and all day, and it took me about 8 hours to finish. Yeah, not that great. In the first generation, we had 3 games, but with confusion. What do I mean? Well, in Japan, they had red and green, and later blue, and later still yellow. In the USA, I mean, we just had red and blue, and then yellow, no green. But why not? Well, my guess is that they saw it as 3 games that are the same, so green got scrapped, I guess, because it was first or something, and it wasn't pleasant to look at. I don't know. In the Generation 3 remakes, we get red and green as a remake as fire red and leaf green, even though it doesn't make sense because, you know, where's blue? And then you have to do some research and discover how they messed up. Gee, what retards. Well, anyways, these games are short. But what's the story? You'd think that monsters and RPGs go hand in hand. So you're thinking something like that one super famous RPG game that everyone loves so much that was originally from Nintendo, right? What was it called? Oh, that's right, Super Mario RPG. It's a story like that, right? Right? Nope. The story is about a boy named Red who is asked to go on a task and collect Pokemon for an encyclopedia known as the Pokédex. You were asked to do this by Samuel Oak, and his grandson Blue is also doing this. Why send 2 people to do this? Well, I have no idea. Wait, let me rephrase that. They're not even people, they're kids. Why send kids to do this? Why not send a team of 100 scientists to go in the field and go collect them? You know, who are adults, not kids. Well, whatever. You're asked to leave your mom and home and go out into the world and collect and train Pokemon. So yeah, that's basically your backstory. Blue is your rival for these games, and he challenges the battle every now and then, but that's not really important, and we'll talk more about Blue in just a second. Well, now that you're a Pokemon trainer, you also need to become a Pokemon Championship. Why is that important? I don't know, it just is. How do you become the Pokemon Champion? Well, by challenging the Pokemon League. The way this works is that there are gyms in specific towns with gym leaders challenging the gym leader and fight. That's pretty much all you do. So to rephrase that, go to a specific town, gym leader, go into the gym, battle the gym leader, fight, and you get a badge. If you win. Only if you win. And the badge does absolutely nothing. So if you collect all 8 badges, you can enter the Pokemon League. Sounds like a scam for a cereal box, if you ask me. Anyways, once you have all that done, then you get to challenge the 4 toughest trainers around. And by around, I just mean that one small little region area. So you gotta beat the 4 toughest trainers around, and they all have a champion. So once you do that, the game is over. No, seriously, that's it. Once you beat them, you win. That's the end. There you go. Along the way, you do get to stop a group of gangsters known as Team Rocket. They're pushovers with the goal to, I don't really know, look cool, get respect. I have no idea. All they do is steal Pokemon and scam people for money, so I don't really know what they really want from anyone. They took over a company known as Sylph at one point, but for what? And they kidnapped some guy to talk to Pokemon spirits? I don't know. I really don't understand what Team Rocket wants. And a twist of events, it turns out their leader Giovanni is the 8th gym leader. Ooh, I didn't see that coming. Who retires immediately after you beat him after the badge because he says you disassembled Team Rocket and blah blah blah. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. So let's recap what you asked to do in the game. You're asked to fill the Pokédex. You don't need it to beat the game. Catch Mew, catch Missingo, Elite Four, game over. Yeah, I got it. No wonder this game is short. It's entirely short for no reason. There's barely any game. Well, if you can get over that there is no real plot and Team Rocket doing stuff out of boredom, this game is pretty okay. Back then, all that really mattered were moves. Seriously, levels didn't make a whole lot of difference. So this game was actually pretty easy as well, but it did have a nice challenge that I'll talk about in a second. Is yellow any different from red or blue or green for that matter? Nope. Well, you do get some differences actually, like Pikachu following you and Team Rocket from the anime showing up, and that's about it. Oh yeah, and you get all 3 starters and there's color, but that's about it. Now let's talk about Blue Oak, as I said I would talk about before. This is your rival in the games, you know, the first generation games. It reminds me a lot of that kid we all had in class in elementary. The one who thinks he's rich and handsome and cool, the one with all the friends, one with the latest gear and games, the one you just wanted to punch. So I say they get a good job of making the rival. One thing is a total loser for actually trying to catch them all. I mean, seriously. He always brags about how much he has in his Pokédex. Like, who cares, dude? I'm just trying to beat the game. His team is made up of different types of Pokemon rather than just one type, like many other trainers have. I mean, seriously, who wants to go to the Elite Four with a bunch of rock types? That's really retarded. He's arrogant, lame, and smells us on many different occasions. Ew. We do see him train his Pokemon a lot though, and he's usually a whole giant step ahead of us, even beating the Elite Four and being the new champ way before we get a chance to. Which raises a theory I have, and maybe someone else shares it. Blue beats the Elite Four and becomes a champion before we do, right? Well, I believe Lance, the 4th Elite Four member, was the champion prior to this, and because he lost, he went back to being an Elite Four member. However, my guess is that there was another member, but also left after Blue beat him. I don't know, it's kind of a theory, but I'll explain more about that in the second video. Anyways, back to Blue. The reason I hate him so much is, well, he never changes. Later in Pokemon games, we see that friendship and bonds with your Pokemon is important and changes several people. Nope, not Blue. He's just a beast. He kinda changes though. At first he's just a brat who doesn't really like Red very much, and in the end he does respect them and is more behaved. Maybe in those 18 hours of reflection during the game I had, he realized that he's a total idiot. Nah, I think he's sort of a flat character, but in his defense, he does learn to treat his Pokemon with love and all that. So I guess he does evolve. Get it? Huh? He evolves? In the end, the game is, well, not so good. Granted, people love the first generation, saying that it is the only real Pokemon game. I understand that, but to me, it lacks a lot. Replay value isn't too good, story is boring. However, the music is great, and the challenge is actually pretty okay. As I said before, it's pretty easy, but it does have its challenging points. It's no Mario RPG, but it's still a fun game. As I mentioned before, there were remakes made to this. It took years, well duh, that's what a remake is, but these are great. The music is just as good, and the challenge was back. They extended the game to have something of a post-game where you could explore some islands and train to rematch the Elite Four, who have gotten much stronger teams. Being from Generation 3, this also means that you could have new Pokemon in this game, even though they blocked that out to much, much later. The plot is still bland, and I don't get Team Rocket or Oak's plan or whatever, any of that, but these remakes were still fun. The first generation was very simple, I guess. It had legendary Pokemon, and they were just that. Legendary. If you caught Pokemon like Mewtwo, oh man, you were the man. And if you had a Mew, people respected you in school, elementary school, whatever. And then what's on the cover of these games? Your starter Pokemon, which, by the way, I chose not to talk about because you should already know them at this point. That's the best way to describe the first generation, simple. And I think that's why people love it so much. People love simple. Although I didn't like these games that much, the next generation was much, much better, and I love them.